should put the texture below the wire and scale it. I'm using, when I scale in Photoshop, I use Shift so it keeps the proportions. I'm going to place that, slide it this way a little bit. Just using the move tool and the up, down, left, right keys. I want to move it to the right, like that. That's that done. So now we want to find a painted metal texture. So if we go back into your good old Google image search and just type in painted metal texture. And there's lots for you to choose from, but I'm just going to probably use something like, I'm going to try and find a really big rusted texture, so I'm going to just minimize that. Second, view the image, stick that on my desktop, stick this in Photoshop, and I got this green rusty texture, which I position. Maybe I want to actually rotate this texture around like this, position it here, put that under the UV mesh, and we're going to mask around, and it only has to be rough, so I'm going to use the polygon lasso tool. Just going to select this UV wire, and it doesn't matter if you go outside the document, but that matters, so we're going to add to the selection this part, and it lets me select the images. There we go. So you could have just used like the square marquee tool and marked it out, but I'm going to select the inverse. Go to so yeah, got the eraser. Just going to erase the parts that we don't need. Select. And now we need to find like another metal texture, but more of a fur color, like iron or something. So I'm going to search for an iron texture, and something like that might work. So again, I'm going to view the image, save it on my desktop, put the image in Photoshop, and I'm going to position this probably something like this, and make sure it's under the UV wire. I'm going to select, I'm on deselect here, I actually want to add selection. Select this, this, I'm going to right click, select inverse, and just use the eraser brush to erase the bits that we don't need. So you see, this is just really basic. Deselect that, and turn off the UV wire. Go File, Save As, and we're in the Images folder here, so we actually want to go back up to the tutorial and make a folder called Textures, and we're going to save this as a D3DDS, and it's just going to be diffuse. Yeah. Now we're going to select all the layers. So we only have one. Go image, mode, change it to grayscale. Just hit merge. File. Sorry, we're going to go image adjustments and curves. So we're just going to move this curve to start here, this one to here. Hit OK. File, save as, D3DDS again. Oh, and we want to go into the textures folder, save this as specular. And I know that's probably not the best way to make a specular map, but alright, so now we're going to go back into Maya and select all objects. And we're going to go to up here where it says polygons, we're going to go to rendering, lighting, shading, batch bake, mental ray, and we're going to bake a AO map. So AO map, convert and close. And we're finished. So let's see what we did there. We baked what's called a light map. So if you look, a light map basically takes light data and transfers it into white areas which get full of light, and darker areas which generate shadows and stuff. And on the inside you see that's all black because it didn't get any light at all because it was blocked by this model. So we're gonna just continue with this. So if I go into our folder, the data, mental layer, light map, open Photoshop with the AO map, see it baked the light map to the texture file which we need for when we do the washable. So now we're going to move on to applying the textures that we made earlier. So we're going to select all the objects, assign a new material, type in here Fong. That's it. Now we're going to change the name to main_matte. So matte being material for short. And in the color, we click the checker box, which brings up this create render node. Select a file. And we're going to tell it the texture that we created earlier, which was the diffuse.dds. And you see it's not very pretty, but you know, this is just a really quick tutorial. You're going to spend a lot more time on the textures, I hope, than what I did. But yeah, we need a specular file, which is, if you go back, you can see specular shading, cosine power, turn up to 60. The specular color is going to come from specular DDS. That's all we need for the textures. We haven't done a normal map, which I could have done, but I don't think as a beginner you're going to be using too many